getting like starry-eyed, trying to chase the biggest, highest return, all that gets you killed. Stay disciplined, buy a tiny little amount of the moon rock, right? Bitcoin or Ethereum every month, put them in Freeway, earn compound interest on that. Wake up in 5-10 years, you did nothing but buy like $200 a month. If you just did that, you'd be set for life in 10-20 years.
That was Josh Massey, the honest crypto guy, teasing the financial freedom potential of people who stake on the 2022 AIBC staking platform of the year, Freeway. Welcome to Mobie Sage TV, your home for Mobie news, education, and entertainment. In this episode, I wanted to feature another crypto project I'm invested in, which does have a couple similarities to Mobie, the crypto and fiat payments, banking, and trading super app and rewards ecosystem. What better way to showcase Freeway than to deep dive into it with the FreewayFi Fanatic, Josh Massey, whose referral link is in the description below, by the way, so please go support Josh in his mission to get 1 million families on their way to passive income and financial freedom. We'll start our conversation by answering the simple question, what is Freeway?
The normal way that traditional finance worlds, right, i.e. The very, very wealthy and affluent people of the planet, right, they are in what are called hedge funds and quant trading funds and all that. On average, those have seen returns north of 70 all the way up to 200% a year. And normally, it makes sense that the very wealthy people are the only ones that have access to it because, and it's not even really like only because it's like the select few or whatever, but it's also because more money makes more money. So money managers and traders want to typically, manage as large of an account as possible. They make more of the commissions on it. So it's really just, usually that's what it's been reserved for. Well, FreewayFi's mission is to bring access for all social finance to the world and essentially give me and yous of the world the ability to get into an opportunity like this and have our funds being essentially, it's very tricky how we want to language, how they want the users to be aware of with their Supercharger products and all that, right? So they are not actively trading our funds, and we'll get into the mechanics of that a little bit later, but essentially what they are doing for very legal reasons, I can't say that they are using it as an investment vehicle, but what they are doing is they are, essentially the funds coming in that we would invest are not considered an investment. They are considered net revenue to the company, and there are no expectations of any returns. There are no expectations that this is a legal investment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So this is not regulated. This is not something that you should put in more than you can afford to lose. I personally trust it with a large amount of money, right, of my own personal capital and all that, but that doesn't mean that's right for everyone. So, always assess your risk tolerance. But in a nutshell, guys, that is Freeway. They're offering 43% a year paid in, US dollars. Was it the Australian dollar, the pound, right? So they also have 43% paid in Bitcoin, which is absolutely insane because that pays you in Bitcoin on your Bitcoin, which can be 3 to 5 years. That's a lot of money, right? So that's what gets me out of bed and excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking daily compounding rewards. And if it's in Bitcoin, Bitcoin is also appreciating. So you're like double or triple compounding on your asset here. It's crazy. And when you deposit money on the platform, where does that money go and how do you get it back?
Great question. So when you send them Bitcoin, US dollar coin, whatever form of currency, right? Your money is going into an offline secure hardware wallet. Okay, so your funds are not being stored in the way that, with all my love, Celsius, Nexo, all these other companies, right? Just being very honest and transparent. The funds, they essentially, the way their platforms were working is they would be lending out your funds into DeFi protocols to make yield on your assets. That is not what's happening here. Your funds never leave those offline hardware wallets. And FreewayFi, through a company that is a partner brokerage, Ardu Prime is essentially able to leverage your assets. So I want you to think about it as they are able to, because of the way that everything's set up, leverage. If you had, let's just say, 1 Bitcoin in there, right? They're able to create a synthetic Bitcoin from your original BTC. But remember, your BTC never leaves your wallet. So essentially, they then take that synthetic BTC, and that is now active revenue that they're able to trade with in the Forex markets, which is foreign exchange currencies, right? So that's how Freeway, start to finish, from when you make your initial deposit all the way to how they actually start to be using the funds, right, as revenue in their business, not as an investment from you, right? It's very important for the legal reasons that it's not considered an investment.
I was going to allude to the Terra Luna collapse. You know, Anchor Protocol was just 20% rewards for users. And from my understanding, that was supposed to be coming from a reserve. Freeway does not do that. They do it much differently through quant trading and Forex trading. So how do you get 43% APY?
So they started out with 20% as a baseline. So there's a few things you have to do in order to create that 43%. Very easy to do. So you get 3% for signing up to their newsletter, which is like you check a box and you put your email in. So like you're going to get that. So 23% is what I tell people is like the baseline. You get an extra 10% when you buy 5% of your total allocation. You purchase the FreewayFi token, which is FWT. So in other words, for simple math, let's say you want to deposit $1,000, you'll need to buy $50 worth of Freeway token in order to get an extra 10%. I highly recommend you get you buy about $100 of Freeway token, because the price does fluctuate a Freeway token. And remember, you need that ratio to be 5% of the total funds, and your $1,000 is going to keep earning interest, which then will get you further and further away from that 5%. So that gets you to 33. And then to get to 43, you have what's called a lockup period. They don't technically call it that, but that's what I call it, where essentially you commit to a certain number of days that you're comfortable essentially not withdrawing. You know, you can do 7 days, you can do, I think it's 15 days, 21 days, and then 30 days. And each of those gets you an extra 2.5%, all the way up to, of course, 10% for a 30-day lockup. That's how you get to 43.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but could it be more close to 50% overall, because your FWT staking is between 15 and 30% itself, and you can get those rewards in whatever supercharger you'd like?
Yep, that is correct. So it does end up being more than 43, because that's also compounding on itself all year. So yeah, the numbers just start to get incredible. And especially if you set your, Freeway staking rewards to be paid out in Bitcoin, you can only imagine what that becomes in, 5, 7, 10 years. That's insane to think about. So yeah, that's why we're all here, obviously.
I love it. It's like I said before, it's like triple and quadruple compounding rewards. It's daily. It's insane. If you were in a low cap gem, like a micro cap gem, like Mobie, let's say, and you just it blew up. Here's $100,000 from your investment that just shot to the moon. Would you toss it all into Freeway?
Yeah, immediately. And the only other place I'd put it is like an offline hardware wallet, which is where it's going. Does that make sense? So that's why, that's how I kind of rationalize it in my own brain, is like, it's going to someone else's hardware wallet. Like, in other words, like, this is something that also brings me peace of mind going to sleep. There are people with millions of dollars in the USD supercharger and Bitcoin supercharger, whatever. There's like the whales, right? Like $5-7 million account. That doesn't mean anything to me. Terra Luna had billions locked up. Okay, we're like a tiny little peanut. Okay, that's not why I feel safe. Why I feel safe is because all of our funds are stored in offline custodian wallets, meaning the whole Freeway platform goes kaflooey. Okay, I don't know that, whatever. Our original funds are offline. They were never touched. So To be clear, that doesn't mean they're safe. That doesn't mean we're taking a no risk investment, blah, 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 but it means our original funds have never been touched. And that brings me a lot of peace of mind, and why I would be absolutely, a micro gem goes off. That's exactly where it's going. That's $4,300 a month in passive income forever off of 100 grand, right? So yeah, that's awesome.
Josh, I did some quick calculations on a Freeway calculator that a user created from Freeway, and that dropped it in Telegram. We can have that link in the description below if you want to test it out. But it's so much fun. If you had $200,000 within 4 years, you'd be a millionaire with Freeway.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And probably sooner.
You're right. That's if you didn't do anything. If you kept depositing more money in it, you'd get there sooner. Yeah.
Well, or even if the FreewayFi token explodes in 4 years, which I think it will, in my opinion, not financial advice. None of this is financial advice, but you can obviously sell some of that once it moons into the USDC charger or whatever, right? To get you to your goal quicker. So yeah, that's another angle I think of too when projecting future value of where it'll be in 3 to 5 years. So it's exciting.
Are we equalized now with the banks? Are we in such an amazing project that nobody knows about yet, that we can actually compete with the 1% who use this type of financial maneuvering to gain even more? Are we on level with them now?
That is like the greatest question ever. I want to say yes, and hedge funds and traditional finance, the world is not only shrewded in mystery, but it's shrewded in keep the little guy out. So people don't know this. For like, let's just say I was like, okay, I want to raise money. Okay, this is why this is so important. If I wanted to raise money, and I wanted to raise money from accredited investors, meaning people that have a net worth of $1 million, blah, 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 okay? Versus I wanted to raise money from non-accredited investors. It is 60 times more expensive for me to do so, okay? It takes 6 months and about $500,000 for me to be able to raise money from non-accredited investors, okay? Accredited investors, 2 weeks and $20,000. Simple math. Because Wall Street doesn't want the little guy to win. It's like, it's all because guess who makes all the money? Selling them, TD Ameritrade, Scott, all these brokerages, all Charles Schwab, all the, right? They make all the money. They own all of those. They own Vanguard. They own all of it. So here's my point, right? Are we on point with them? I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. And the only reason I'm not saying yes is because when Vanguard and when they're making that much noise, and they wake up to what's happening here, and they come in and they try to regulate it, or they try to, that's the biggest thing I see. I don't see it as a red flag for like my funds. I think no matter what, will be like given a period of, 14 days or something. I don't know. Freeway is very, I'm not worried about that part of it. I just think the party might end when these guys wake up to, oh, the little guys are getting the returns that we get. No. And they might try to do something about it. That's my thing.
I forgot we're talking to one of the newest members of the Freeway Guerrilla Marketing Squad, Josh Massey.
I know. I feel like I heard that.
By the way, I love the Freeway community and just the Freeway. I don't know if you want to call them executive team or just the Freeway officials. They're very active in Telegram. They do a lot for the community. They're very open. And part of that is they're sharing their audit that just recently came out with anybody who wants to sign an NDA.
Yes.
Without violating that NDA. What can you tell us about the audit that came out?
So this is what I love about Freeway is I don't have to be the guy who tries to convince people and tries to like, there's no schmoozing at all. I literally am like, here's the link. I'm going to put it in the description below to this video. Go sign the waiver. Go look at every bit of what's in there. Can't tell you what's in there. And make your own financial decision, right? Just simply put, it will not only blow your mind, the level of transparency, but the numbers are exciting. They're very exciting. And to be clear, what that means is like the numbers of what they made in trading volume, which this part was very publicly stated in an AMA by Graham, right? So I feel like I'm allowed to say that, right? Those numbers are just absolutely out of this world. To the traditional finance world, that's normal. And people need to be opening their awareness to, you know, these are the normal returns of quant funds, of hedge funds. We just normally don't have access to that. You know, we're told like, oh, if you get 10% in a year, that's amazing, right?
Josh,
no.
like 1.5% per year is amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny. Like you look at FreewayFi, you look at all these other. I'm in a few different projects and things, right? But you look at this, and it's just like, dude, we are so spoiled. Like we're so spoiled, like because so many people don't have the awareness that we do to all of these passive income generating opportunities. That I mean, ultimately, man. I mean, I've watched like I don't know how many people from FreewayFi retire. I mean, like that stuff is like life changing. It's like amazing, you know. And it's like, and it's funny. Like I try to be like as non-biased as I can. I don't want to feel like some guy who's just drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever, right? It's like no. Like I've done my homework. I was the biggest. Oh, that was something I wanted to talk about. I was the biggest skeptic in the world. I rocked every single member of FreewayFi over the coals. Like I asked them the tough questions, and I invite everyone watching this, do the same for yourself. Like I asked the most challenging technical questions you can ask, and not only within like an hour did I get a response, but I heard it from the CEO later in an AMA where they asked him a lot of my questions and he answered every single one. And so that is like the level of not only transparency that they operate with, but the level of just, you know, care for the investor, the you and me, not the accredited guy that's got $1 million, the me with like 5-10 grand I'm going to throw in there. But they care more. They care that much about, it's just so refreshing, man. Like people don't, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do understand this, but big companies, once they hit a certain level and they have the ability to generate, I'm not going to say the number, but the returns that they do, they don't have to do anything they're doing. Like to be very, I mean, at all. Like if anything, it's, like I said, it's more expensive to do what they're doing on their end. So the fact that they're doing this just out of straight up the greater good of the social world of finance is why I'm here talking about them, not getting paid to do so, just out of my own donation of my time. And same with you, Mobie, right? Like, yeah. Can't say enough amazing things.
I think we can equate it to they're just sharing their revenue maybe or their profit with us because
yes,
like they're making astonishing amounts of money in their model, and central banks, I don't know, I don't want to say any names, but they market you like a savings account of 0.1%. You know, it's just nothing. Freeway is literally sharing their rewards with us, with you. Yes. And that is the difference. And I think, so does this align a lot with what you're working on with your company and how Freeway is helping you achieve what you want to achieve in your goals?
I run a company called The Loving Leaders. It's a coaching business, right? So I do a lot of inner child healing therapy with all of my clients. I love the work. I love it. Like I've done it for years now. For me, I've always seen, and I've always had an affinity for wealth and a lot of money and all that. But that's something that I've been, you know, within my own inner journey without going into 20 minutes of detail. But something that I've always been frustrated with is people who are self-employed, right? That are not making $1 billion yet or whatever, but they have their own business. They're doing pretty well, right? They're not like, to be very transparent with everybody with my numbers, I'm overly transparent. Okay. I make maybe like $100,000 to $200,000 a year, stoked, grateful, all the things. That's not, you know, gross profit. That's like revenue, whatever, but those are my numbers, right? For me to be able to invest in something like FreewayFi with all of the profits that are made from me doing what I love, and to actually have a way that I'm not going to retire when I'm 80, because that's basically what you're trained to do is like, oh yeah, just put it in this stock market mutual fund thing. And, in 30 years, maybe you can, whatever. Like, no, we have the opportunity in like 7 to 10 years of just staying disciplined, staying consistent to be completely financially free. And the more income that I make, the more excited I am, because every day I get to watch my money make a little bit more money. And every life I change, right? That's my kind of like how I look at everything, right? Is like every life I'm able to change, kind of the inner world and really like a lot of the healing. I also now have something to offer them to say, hey, here's also something that can really change your life in the financial world, and that has never been done before, in my opinion, for the little guy. And, I'm completely just sold on the mission because of who I am. And, I'm just going to own that, right? Like, I'm just a guy who really cares about the little guy and people in the world that like, that wouldn't normally have access to products like this. And, I've been to so many, just dozens of crypto conferences. I've been to Bitcoin Miami, whatever. I've been in the space for a long time. Everybody has this kind of, just with all my love, I'll just call the space out as a whole, just this selfish arrogance that's like, if you're not worth $20 million, don't talk to me kind of vibe, right? And just, I'm so grateful for that, like a company like FreewayFi exists, let alone an ecosystem of thousands of people get it on the level of social finance that like they're trying to create. It's not about me, it's about we getting wealthy and, all the things together and sharing the mission of FreewayFi, right? Like, we're doing this on our own dime, our own time. Like, no one's telling us to do this. We just wanted to do this. We just came together. We wanted to, right? Because it's that amazing what they're doing for the world. And I feel like it's kind of the least we could do, to be honest, right? I want everyone and their mom to know that this exists, because it could change their life forever. And, last thing I'll say too, that ties into my story is my parents, right? Middle, upper class, right? Upper, middle, whatever, however we want to call this, right? But with very transparently, like, are not in the best financial situation for retirement specifically, right? That is, like, just to give clarity, guys, like, this is what Freeway, not only from like my own, business mission, but my personal life, my vision of like, my parents are going to be able to retire because of Freeway, like straight up. That did not exist until FreewayFi existed. Like, there was no path that I was going to be like, hey guys, put your funds in here. There was BlockFi, there was Celsius, all these things. I just never felt like, that my intuition just always kind of told me like, I don't know, like, I'm talking to put hundreds of thousands of dollars, not like a couple grand, whatever. I'm talking the big money that whatever. And yeah, FreewayFi, I trust at that level that it's going to be there tomorrow and it's going to keep earning more money and all the things. So anyway, can't say enough amazing things, but that's how it all ties into my own personal mission,
That's amazing. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you seem more heartfelt in the crypto space, and we need a lot more of that. And none of this is financial advice, of course, as Josh mentioned, but we love Freeway. Getting back to the 43%, and kind of, you can see it as Freeway sharing your rewards. The reason I love Freeway is because Mobie also does that. When you shop on the Mobie app at many retailers around the world, you get between 2% and 8% cash back. They're utilizing blockchain technology in order to lower fees and share rewards with you. And I feel like that's what Freeway is doing as well. When might 43% go down over time? Like, is there I heard that $250 billion on the Freeway platform, that's the threshold when they're going to have to start lowering their rewards. Do you know anything about that?
So yeah, essentially there's a certain threshold. We don't actually know the number. They're like estimating it's 250 or whatever, but whatever that number is, you become big enough that your position moves the market. Whatever that number is, whatever, like, they then can't, they have to shift from the strategy they're using right now. And yeah, I will say, like, that's also something to be thinking about in the future. Now, me personally, we're at what, like 160 million?
Mm-hmm.
So by that time, off the Freeway token appreciation alone, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'll just, we're good. So I'm thinking at least 5 to 10 years, even with exponential growth.
So what's coming up for Freeway? I hear something about a debit card, a Freeway chain. They're building their own layer one. Do you know anything that's coming up for Freeway? Because Mobie also is to connect the two. Mobie is coming out with a debit card to make operating in the ecosystem as a user more easy. What's the Freeway debit card going to look like, and how can we interact with that on the Freeway platform? And what's the Freeway chain?
So I'll answer the Freeway debit card first. So they're also doing Fiat Onboarding, which is going to be, that's going to just bring, I don't even want to know how much liquidity to the project.
Mm-hmm. Because right now you have to do over-the-counter transactions from a crypto wallet to their crypto wallet.
And you have to really know what you're doing in crypto, right? You have to like know how to buy US dollar coin on like Coinbase and then send it over. And it's like it's kind of a, you know, challenging way to get funds on. I will be honest, right? That's something that Freeway already knows they need to improve on, and they already are, because they're trying to figure out Freeway, Fiat onboarding, right? So the way I understand it, I clarify my languaging because that's exactly how I'll say it. The way I understand it, I'm not 100%, sure on this, so don't quote me on it. But the onboarding, or the Freeway debit card, right? Let's start there, is going to be, I believe, tied to your Supercharger balance. And again, don't quote me on that, but I believe I think that's the rumor. That's not verified from the team. I haven't talked to them, but I can't even imagine, if that is true, how impactful that would be for like for everyone. I'm just going to use the figure of what you used, right? Let's just use 200,000 times 0.43. That is an $86,000. Wait, no, I did that wrong. Wait, no, I did that right. Yeah, $86,000, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So divide that by 12. That is $7,100 a month. Divide that by 30, and that is $239 a day. Imagine a debit card that goes up $238 a day, and as long as you spend less than that in a day, it makes more money the next day.
Wow, Josh. I know. A lot of the crypto space, it's tough for normies and the general population to understand unless they're in it. How you just broke that down is perfect for the mainstream user.
Yes. Thank you. I do my best to really make it exciting, because it is exciting. It's like, that's when you put it like that, people can really, $230 a day that just keeps going up every day. Like, that's insane, right? It's like, yeah, that's the power of this, right? So, anyway, yeah, it's exciting.
I think we found a platform to stash away our crypto profits and stack some sats. Yes. Yeah.
For sure. For me, for sure. I've been in the project for probably going on 7 months. I withdrew 10,000 just to make sure I could. And I could, worked, did it. It arrived 30 days later in the exact amount, no questions asked, right? So everything's working. Coach K, I know you know who Coach K is. Mm-hmm. For those of you guys who don't, I think he's got like 5 million or something on the platform. He's got a lot in the platform. He did a $1 million withdrawal, I think 2 months ago. And same thing, he received it. It was easy. And so, yeah, and they have more than the covered, like, for example, let's say there's 160 in the Superchargers, 160 million right now, or whatever the number is, right? They have more than that in, buffers to cover all withdrawals. So that's that.
I'm on the Freeway calculator real quick. And if you deposited $1,000 just into the USD supercharger and did nothing but keep up with the 5% FWT requirement, in 10 years, $35,000. In 20 years, like if you have a baby like I do, and in 20 years after college, you want to set them up, $1.483 million after 20 years for doing nothing but depositing $1,000 today. And furthermore, if you want to deposit like $200 a month from that and compound those rewards after 10 years instead of 35,000, you'll have about $228,000 after 20 years, $11.2 million.
And like the part that gets me excited, right? Because yes, those numbers get me stoked, but I'm going to bring this all the way home with this last point is I think of things not as like, so yes, I love giant numbers, lump sums of 5, 10, 20 million. To stay disciplined when you have a broken ATM machine, my point is, you gotta have a plan for that big lump sum number that you're growing it to. And the minute it hits that, you start taking out a certain number every month to, I don't know, reallocate to other projects, live off of, do whatever you want with it. But my point is, I say that because I don't think of things in, oh, in this many years, I'll have this giant lump sum. I do, but I think of what's my number of my monthly expenses. And then I think of, well, what do I need passive income wise to create totally covered and then maybe a little bit more. And then I think, okay, working backwards, right, that number, right, 250,000, 7,000, whatever I said per month, that covers most of my expenses, right? So for me, that's the magic quote unquote number that you're financially free. And I think that gets me really not only excited, but you can start to also, if you're even disciplined from there, compound like 50%, right? So that number that you get paid out every month keeps going up. So that's what gets me excited.
Mm-hmm. I love the way you broke that down because, you know, yeah, we might need that money. So what can we take out and continue to grow? And what are we going to need for passive income and that whole thing? Love that breakdown. And that's why I love your channel. You go through all that too. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Josh Massey on YouTube. And it says it in the banner, The Honest Crypto Guy. But I'm pretty sure I'm the only Josh Massey. I don't know. I've heard other people telling me there's multiple Josh Masseys. So just The Honest Crypto Guy. And
there will be more Josh Masseys the more you grow, and they're going to be called scammers, unfortunately. But this is the real guy.
I'm the guy. I'm that guy. I'm Josh Massey.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on with me. I wanted to share Freeway with my small group of viewers to try to help them out in any of the profits that they're getting and a place to stash them, or if they want to research into Freeway and make their decisions. This is not financial advice, but again, we love Freeway, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you as well.
I look forward to checking in with you sometime in the future and see how both our portfolios are doing on Freeway.
Amen. Yeah, dude. We'll be on Twitter. We'll be Twitter bros.
Yeah, thanks again for joining. It was really cool to talk to you.
You too. All right. Thanks, Sage.
Hey, thank you for watching to the very end. Please subscribe to Mobie Sage, smash that like button, leave a comment, and share the video. Your feedback is welcome. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mobie Sage. Check out the next video, click on the playlist, or enjoy this Mobie Sage classic.